some people are joining now. So it is Remembrance Day, November 11th. Thank you for joining our corporate cross-cultural communications class again, all of you. I have just finished talking with a few of our participants about their research details, and I helped clarify that every one of you need to communicate as an expert. When you are doing our class, you need to make a term paper that you're teaching the world something new. And so right now, what we're focused on is showing you're actually in process for developing your actual research paper. If you can show me a few paragraphs about what you've started writing in a Microsoft Word file, and then you can start developing your PPT that you're going to show at the end of the semester with everything finished, great. It's easiest to start with this. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. So obviously you're finding many other articles, a lot of literature. When you review the articles, when you review the Scopus Journal notes, that is reviewing the literature. That's checking the background, what other people say. So you need to provide information about what the other people are saying on your topic. It's best for you if you identify the most famous people. In class, if you provide several paragraphs about this, which means you're talking about several different journal articles, I will give you many points. Eventually, at the end of class, you have to have the full essay finished. So today, we are going to have some students talk about this, but we're also going to be talking about managing multicultural teams. Is that correct? Professor Chanin Lee and Chian Ha, is that correct?
Yes.
Before we get into those professors talking about the topic, are there any other participants today that would like me to share the screen with you or give you co-hosting access? Going once, going twice. I'm trying to encourage you to speak fastly, to move quickly. Anybody else want to present something today? Going once, twice. Nobody else has anything to present. Okay. Soo-Hyun Lee, you talked about something early before the class. If you can keep your co-hosting and then just remind the students what you learned today, that would help and entitle you to those marks. So thank you very much for that. Chanin Lee and Xiang Ha, please go ahead and you can take over, start teaching the class your topic. Don't forget, every other person listening, you should give a review of the presentation. In your final presentation, everybody must evaluate it and give detailed comments. So start doing it today in order to show you know how. Go ahead.
Can you see our screen?
Yes, I can.
So yeah, this is Xiang and Chanin Lee, and good afternoon, everyone. We today talk about the chapter 7 of the textbook, Motivating People from Around the World, Inspiring People to Contribute.
Could you start by showing your class where your files are online so every one of the students can see your folder or see your PPT on their own? Show those links.
Mm-hmm. Also, should we go into the class file?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so if you go on to our class file, and if you click on the weekly topic materials and go into chapter 7, here is our folder. And here you can see our presentation, the PPT slides, and also the Scopus articles that we have used for this presentation.
Great, awesome. I expect everybody in class to be doing things like this. These people, as I don't I still see your PPT file. Let me help you share the screen. I will share my screen for a second. Sorry for kicking off and showing you. But again, this is our the specific class file today, presentation today, is showing these articles and these PPT that we're talking about and notes related to their project update. And this is in the our class focus on chapter 7, which has a lot of details here. Later, after they present, I will be talking about this file that is special notes on managing and motivating employees around the world. This is their folder that they're talking about. And again, every week, all of our materials are here. So everybody should be sharing details and seeing how you work together. Sorry, please go ahead. Now that that's clarified, generally you can show your screen again.
Okay. Okay, I guess.
Yes, and this is our today's table of contents. So first, I'll explain these 3 theories with short videos that can help your understanding. And then Chelin will continue to explain rest of the theories. So the first video is about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and let's see this video first.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a theory in psychology. It argues that there are 5 stages of human needs that motivate our behavior. Abraham Maslow proposed his theory in 1943 after studying what he called exemplary people, such as Albert Einstein or Eleanor Roosevelt. First, there are physiological needs, such as the need to breathe, eat, drink, or sleep. The moment we get enough of that and we feel awake and our bellies are full, we get motivated by the next thing. Now we want safety. We try to earn money, build up resources, and look for shelter that protects us against dangers. Once we are satisfied and feel safe, we have time to think about what we want next. At stage 3, we seek love and belonging. We desire to be close to family and friends, belong to a society, or join a gang. But the moment we feel completely part of a group, we already wish to be a little different than the rest. At stage 4, we look for esteem, self-confidence, and respect from our peers. We want to be someone. If we have money, we buy a fancy watch. If we have a brain, we write or think or work a lot. Motivation to perform and compete is now at its highest. Students, sportsmen, and inventors excel. Neil Armstrong even flew to the moon. Only if we breathe and drink and eat and sleep enough, and we feel safe and part of a group and still special, only then can we reach level 5, self-actualization. Now we can relax, be creative, accept facts for what they are, give back or do whatever we want. No more pressure, unless of course there is trouble below. If you are a leader and believe in the theory, use it. First, make sure everyone has eaten well. Then make them feel safe and help them belong to a group. Once they feel they belong, they are ready to stand out and excel. Thanks for watching. Even if we try to keep it short, then we break.
So yeah, as the video mentioned, Maslow suggested human beings 5 basic needs from a hierarchy, as you can see in this screen. And he added that higher order needs only become activated after lower needs have been satisfied. And we found the article that related to this theory. So according to this Scopus article, Maslow's theory is the one of important theories that explain how motivated workers contribute to the organization. And moreover, theory helps companies to successfully establish HRM practices by considering employees' basic needs. Then I will give some possible practices that companies can conduct. So for psychological needs, companies should offer a restroom, a place to get drinking water, breaks to eat meals and snacks, and a comfortable working environment. And for the second level, companies should offer helmet warning system at construction place and pay security allowance. And for the love and belonging, companies should ensure employees' work-life balance and working environment. And for the ISTEM, companies should reward or recognize their workers based on their achievement. And lastly, for self-actualization, companies should focus on their employee skills and abilities, helping them look for ways to advance. So, yeah, Professor,
Can I
you
say
have
something, Professor? Huh? Yes,
yeah.
thank you for that. Since we are focused on corporate cross-cultural communication, thank you. Your presentation is great. You started with a very interesting video that captures our attention. You're repeating some of the details so people understand it. I talk about that's ESL, English on a second line. You're saying things again with a different thing. But I also want to help you, since you guys are really leading and you want to continue to be leaders in the world, I don't want you to be attacked like Donald Trump is attacked. So when you're saying these things, you just said self-actualization means you must do this. But it would be safer for you to say Maslow says self-actualization means this. There's a small difference. The first one, it's your idea. The second idea, the second way you say it, it's from Maslow. And so if anybody wants to attack you or argue, they can attack you the way you just said it. But if you clarify this is Maslow's comments, then they can't attack you. You can both attack Maslow. Or if they say anything, you can just say, exactly, and you can't look bad. You understand what I mean by that?
Okay.
Can you repeat what I just said? Since my old man speaking is strange, can you tell the class what I just meant?
So rather than use word should, maybe we can use word would or might, and we might we can say the Maslow said these. Yeah.
Yeah,
In order to
you're referencing details. Say who you got the details from. Reference it. Don't just write like this. This slide doesn't say Maslow on the slide. So I think this is your idea. And you are teaching this world something new. So if I like it, I love you. If I don't like it, I can argue with you. But if you write this is Maslow at the bottom from 1920, then I can't argue with you. I can only argue with this other person. So make sure when you're communicating, you communicate your reference in text. Every slide, use your reference. Understand?
Okay.
Sung Ju Lee, you're watching. Maybe I'm putting you to sleep. Can you tell me can you present anything on this slide? Do it safely so I can't attack you. Teach me anything about this slide. You can see self-actualization, esteem. It means this stuff in the block. Love. Maybe teach me about love and belonging by reading this. Do it safely. If you make a mistake, I'm going to jump on you. Come on, I'm getting old. Look how many gray hair. I'm half dead. Speed up. You're supposed to be young, full of energy, fast. You're doing the Korean communication now. You're waiting to make sure you're absolutely perfect with no mistakes. Try the Donald Trump way. Say anything. Talk about hippopotamus and oranges. Basically take one of the, like this, you see this self-actualization, it's talking about this blue box. The green triangle is talking about this green box. The orange triangle about love is talking about this orange ensure employees box. So just read one of these, but try to read it, try to communicate like a leader, try to communicate like an expert.
Love and belonging is related to friendship, family, and sense of connection.
Okay, I can jump up and down on your head. Thank you very much for doing that. But I can attack you and slice your throat and kill you. How about you, Jino? Your turn. Take that love and belonging to any one of these and try to say them in a way that I can't attack you and kill you. Sung Ju Lee, he did a very good job of presenting like a student, a regular student. But I'm a grumpy old SOB man. I can attack you. How can you say that and communicate without causing a problem?
So can I say like something about this triangle and this line?
Anything you want, yes.
I think that the psychological needs and safety needs is the essential way to people to live and survive. And below the love and belonging, that it is also needed. But I think the red and oranges is the basic one to live in my knowledge until now.
Okay, you were sort of safe because you said in your opinion or in your knowledge. That's a little safer. Sung Ju Lee, he just said, here it is. So it's kind of a fact. You said, maybe it's right, maybe not in my opinion, in my knowledge. Good. What about Sung-Ak Lee? I'm going to say it one more time, and I want you to try to understand my old man speak. Anytime you talk, you should try to say things simple. That's number one. No question. Try to say it once and then say it again using different words. ESL, English on a second line. That's number two. And then to be a leader, this third one is what I'm focusing on. When you are talking, reference the other person. So when you're saying something, say, Mr. Jones said, love and belonging is this. Or Mr. Kim said physiological needs is often a restroom place, I don't know, to drink water, go to the toilet. So your turn, Sung-Ak Lee, can you try to teach anything from this slide? And let's see if I'm gonna jump on you also. And then after Sung-Ak Lee, it's Charin Lee's turn to continue. Sung-Ak Lee, we're waiting for you.
Okay, so I was looking for the esteem one, the green one, the esteem, because I think that's the most important thing. Because, esteem means that when you achieve something and when you work something and when you achieve something, like we have to get rewards to get self-esteem or some esteem so that we can work well after that. So I think that's the...
You sound just like Sung Ju Lee.
Me?
Maybe I think I heard you say, I think. Did you say, I think? In that case, you're just like, you know.
Because, esteem has many meanings. Like, I think most people, like, are different, like, what they think of esteem means. So that's why I just said, I think.
Okay, so you are the same as you know. You were saying, I think. Great. But I can still attack you guys because I can say, you think this? Well, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. Charin, your turn. Can you try to say this, protecting yourself, and say these ideas come from somebody else? They come from Maslow. So if you say it that way, I can attack you.
So in order to avoid the attacks from the other person, I would, in describing this theory, I would accord to Maslow and say, according to Maslow's theory, he is, in his theory of hierarchy of needs, there are 5 steps, and the 5 steps are the following, and blah, blah, so on.
Good. Min-Jae Kim, can you clarify to the class, how did Charin say things differently than Sung-Ak Lee, Eugene Oh, and Sung Ju Lee? What's the difference?
The difference is that she mentioned the someone's ideas, like according to Maslow, and also to add, it is better to use the would or would or
Would or should. The using would or I think, that's less important. It's most important. The most important thing I'm trying to teach now is say this is according to Maslow. You're saying this is according to somebody else said this. Reference them, and it's their idea. You can't be killed. And at the end of your presentation, you could say that Maslow's, I don't know, he's on crack cocaine and he's stupid or crazy. You know, so you can comment anything at the end, but reference the other people every time you do that. So that's called in-text referencing. Anybody have questions about that? Because everyone in class, you must do that when you're presenting all through the rest of the semester. And in any class ever for the rest of your life, you should be doing this. And definitely when you write your PPT for us, you should change your slide. What do you need to change on this slide? If it was yours, when you're writing your essay, what do you need to make sure is there? Hey, Solhan, what do you need to change on this slide?
If
Put a picture of beautiful, handsome Professor Watts here. It would make it amazing. No, that's crazy.
I think I will add some example like that.
Oh, maybe. The short answer is you need to say Maslow. Whoever wrote this, wherever you got this picture from and these words from, write their name here and put the year that they wrote it. That's the in-text reference. And then when you're saying these things, say Maslow said these things. Icharin right now, she's a thief. And Xiangha, we're nice, we're good, hardworking people, but you're stealing the ideas from somebody else and I can attack you. By saying it's Maslow's idea, I can't attack you. And by writing Maslow's name here and the year that he wrote it, I can't attack you. You're safe. That's it. If anybody is still confused, please ask. Otherwise, I'm an old grumpy man. I'll shut up and please continue teaching Professor Icharin and Xiangha.
Okay, I'll make sure to put in-text citation on this slide later. And moving on to the next slide. So regarding Maslow's theory, Hofstede pointed out that it does not always hold for employees outside the United States because each country has distinct cultural backgrounds that affect employees' priorities. So to make sure this argument, let's see the case of United States and Japan. And as you can see in this bar chart, two countries show contrasting cultures. And in particular, in contrast to the US, Japan shows higher uncertainty avoidance and lower individualism. So unlike Americans, Japanese employees are likely to consider safety needs and love and belonging more than esteem or self-actualization.
So just a pause again. I'm so excited with your presentation. I want somebody in the class to help me communicate with the class. Jakovir, I haven't heard you in a long time. Sukrit, Fonita, Miss Hong, Suksana, all of you, I don't see you, maybe you're not here. I want somebody to help me. So I'm going to start saying one or two sentences, then I want you to say another sentence. Get ready. Now, we just saw two PPT slides. The first one was talking about Maslow. Maslow said something. Now we're looking at this new PPT image, and it's Gert Hofstede says Maslow does not always work. Maslow does not always, it's not always good. Maslow has a problem. True. Now I want you to identify Does Hofstede have a problem? Can any of you guess that? This is really advanced. You should get maybe easily a full point just for identifying what is a problem with this chart. Icharan and Xiangha, you're going to teach it to the class. I'm just wondering, maybe you can make your classmates fall in love with you if they can suggest it before you teach it. So back to Icharan and Xiangha. If you want to give your classmates a few seconds to try to suggest what is a problem with Hofstede, you can give them marks. It's up to you.
So actually, we would
If
like
you don't
to ask a. So we actually would like to ask a question about that. So we also wonder that students in class think this Hofstede argument is perfect to describe the reality. So we also want to hear.
He can't be perfect. Look how ugly. He looks like a Halloween ghost. He can't be that perfect. What is a problem with what this guy's doing? Looking ugly and what?
So does anyone have opinion about about this argument?
I do, but I have to shut up.
So any comment is welcome.
Hong Min, Sungju Lee, Hazel Han, Yujino, Minjae Kim, Sumak Lee, Hong, Fonita, Sukrita, Jekovir, Suksana, any of you?
So to help you kind of understand what's going on right now, I would like to pose this question. Do you think Hofstede actually perfectly explains the characteristic of each country?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I think Hofstede opinions is not also perfect because, for example, he compared in this PPT, compare United States and Japan, but I think if some company that he investigated were did like this graph, but other companies or other groups of the company in Japan can be similar to United States companies. So I think it is not the perfect research.
Wow, Hong Min, you are a genius geek. You have obviously done research on Gert Hofstede. What you said is absolutely true, but it's not explained here in this chart. So that is top secret Harry Potter shit. Like you really know magic. But what about what they are saying here? They are saying everybody in the United States is like this. Everybody in Japan is like this. What is the problem with saying just that?
Is it just
it's-
generalization?
Okay, you're using Edward Hall. You're only saying like 5 words. What do you mean? Use a few more words to explain. Generalization of what? Everything is kind of a generalization.
Maybe other Japanese companies have more importance to other categories.
Yeah, you're okay. You're absolutely right too. But I think almost everybody else in class, I am an expert in this, so I understand you're absolutely true. Just like you and Hong Min, you guys are crazy geniuses. Can somebody else pretend I'm a middle school kid? What are we trying to say here?
So to give you a hint, you should probably focus on the culture itself, the culture of the countries itself, instead of the companies. So just think about the differences of the cultures of each country. And do you think Hofstede really explains them? So this is just a hint.
Good. Perfect. You're a great professor, Miss Lee, Professor Lee. I guess my communication skills, I'm an old crazy man. You guys need to help me. Even though I'm teaching communication, you guys can help me with the millennial generation. I just said Miss Lee. Maybe is that sexist? Should I have just said Charin Lee? Should I have just said Professor Lee? Should I have just said, like, I'm not even allowed to say you guys. Anyway, that's not important. Anybody else have a comment? Lee Soo-hyun, Sung-yeon, Suksana, Miss Hong, Fonita, Jacovir. I haven't heard from you in a long time. Jacovir is not in class today.
So I think because he identified the culture of each country is very generalized, because I think that does not explain the individual personalities or any organizational cultures or diverse cultures or communities within the nation.
Right. So in each of these countries, there's more than 100 million people or 300 million people. Like in China, there's 1.4 billion people. And Hofstede says every Chinese person is the same culture, the same characteristics, the same style. And you know that's not true. Everybody, every main group of people has differences. So Maslow is wrong. The motivations change depending on your country. That's true. But Hofstede is wrong because every group of people, even inside a country, have different motivations and cultures too. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I did hear that some people can't, for some reason, they weren't talking, but if you want points in class, you need to share details with class. Talk more in class. Go ahead, keep going. Professor Charin Lee and Xiang-ha.
Yeah, so as Professor said, the Hofstede argument only contributes to compare countries by culture, but not explain each small cultures within the country. So that's the limitation of Hofstede. And next slide. We also prepare the video of McClelland's knee theory, and let's see this video. So according to McClelland's theory, every employee is particularly motivated by a predominant need. So specifically, people with strong achievement need have strong need of setting accomplishing goals and welcome constructive feedback on their progress of achievement. And people with strong affiliation need want to belong in a group and go along with the general opinion. And people with strong power need, they enjoy status and recognition, want influential power, and thrive to win in a argument. And I would like to know which kind of person are you, and what do you expect from the company to satisfy your specific need? So, does anyone have like to? Okay, Professor, what?
No, come on. I'm old and boring. Somebody else in class, please talk. You're supposed to be younger, more energy than me. You should be talking before me. Min-Jae Kim, Miss Huang.
Yes, Professor. In my opinion, I think I kind of person like more focused on the need of applied affiliation. Yes, I think I prefer to work in group and share the idea with other than like work alone or be like a leader to like control other. Yes.
So everybody in class, now that you know Ms. Hong likes to participate, if you talk in class and you don't ask Ms. Hong questions or ideas, you're being rude to her.
I don't think so. Yes, Professor.
What about Sungyeon?
Yes.
What do you think?
To achieve these things for companies.
Yeah, the question is, what do you think? Go ahead. I will stop being the teacher. Chiang Ha, what was your question again? You want to repeat it for them?
So there are three needs for three needs and for achievement, affiliation, and power. So I wonder, what kind of person are you? So are you a person with need for achievement or for affiliation or power?
I think I am a kind of person who need achievements because I become kind of lazy if I don't have any motivations. So the achievements can give me some motivations to work much hard. So I'm that kind of person, I think.
So, Sungyeon Jae, you should realize if you present today anything, you can get more marks. You can get more achievement. I trapped you. Every class for the rest of the semester, you need to say something, show something. You're not allowed to be quiet. Go ahead, keep going. Now, Sungyeon Jae, ask one other classmate, what is their style?
한솔? 혜솔? 한혜솔?
Actually, now I'm a person who prefer achievement because I like to get a feedback when people start my project like that. But to develop myself, I think I need power because I'm hesitate to when I'm at the lower place. I think I'm hesitate about talking my opinion like that.
You want a power? Then why are you being more powerful in class? Get this old man to shut up. Go ahead. Now, you said two things. You want power, so you should be talking more every class until we finish. And you said you want achievement, same thing. When was the last time you showed your efforts to anybody else in class and asked them ideas? When was the last time you shared details and told somebody else to give you comments?
Maybe
10 years ago?
no. But I think it has been so long time, maybe.
Right. Every class you should be doing this, right? And not just my class, any class you have. Good. Can you guys guess what is my style? What do I prefer of these images?
For affiliation.
Looking at this affiliation, I don't care about you guys. Are you crazy? Good guess. No. I was going to say I need KFC chicken. When I look at this guy, I think of Kentucky Fried Chicken. But no, actually, I am more results oriented. I want to see results. That means what?
The
Need
effort.
for achievement.
Yes.
Achievement, yeah.
Achievement.
I used to be vice president of a university. I left that to be able to, since they are going very slow with coronavirus, now I'm interacting with you guys. Yes, I like the idea of impacting, getting lots of results. So please speak my language. Please show me anything. And every time you make some sort of comment, hopefully I can help you do better the next time. Go ahead, get me to shut up. Who is it? Hey Song Han, you were supposed to tell me to be quiet now since you want power. I want to give you power. I want to have less. I'm helping you. Just tell Xiong Ha and Icharin to keep talking. Tell Professor Watts to shut up.
So thank you for your opinions. And so the next slide, Hofstede added his opinion on this McClelland's theory. So especially about the achievement, he suggested this figure on the right side that represent position of the 40 countries on the uncertainty avoidance and masculinity scales. So according to Hofstede, countries which have weak uncertainty avoidance and high masculinity are likely to follow the high achievement motivation pattern, but countries which have strong uncertainty avoidance and low masculinity are likely to follow the low achievement motivation pattern. So yeah, basically his opinion, we think, though he suggested more diverse aspects like this, we think Hofstede's viewpoints are also limited to focus on Western countries because, as I mentioned, he think countries within the red box follow the high achievement motivation pattern compared to countries with blue box. So, and he gave high score to countries within the red box, but low scores to countries within the blue box. And high scored countries are mostly likely to mostly Anglo-American group and some of former colonies, while low scored countries are mostly non-English speaking group. So we think, Hofstede's opinion has the limitation as well. And moving on to the next theory, this is Harzburg two-factor theory, and let's see the video again.
created using Powtoon.
So about this, this is Hartsburg two-factor theory, and he suggested two factors, intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors. Specifically, he utilized Maslow's need hierarchy to explain two factors. The extrinsic factors correspond as three lower level from psychological to love and belonging, including poor working conditions or lower salary. And the extrinsic factors correspond to two upper level, esteem and self-actualization, which includes responsibility, recognition, or achievement. And again, Hofstede asserted that culture influences those hygiene and motivation factors. For example, since the US culture is highly individualistic and productivity oriented, Americans focus on job enrichment, but whereas Swedish and Norwegian culture is more collectivist and quality of life oriented, so that people in Sweden and Norway focus on developing socio-technological systems and ways to balance work and life. And so in every culture, certain factors act as motivators and others act as demotivators. So specific motivators and their relative importance are unique to each culture and situation. So I have another question about this. So what do you think of Korean culture? So can anyone explain Korean culture and how does Korean culture act as motivators or demotivators to employees? Or you can share any country's culture about this theory.
I definitely love what you guys are doing. Please keep doing it. Good luck trying to motivate your classmates to talk and answer you.
I think Korean culture is more collectivist compared to other countries, because I think when seeing the companies form like a big company like Samsung, like there are many departments which are more collectivist compared to big companies from United States like Google. And I saw some like articles that like Samsung is more collectivistic compared to American companies, because I think in Asian countries compared to America, they think collectivism more important compared to America. So I think Korea culture is more collectivist.
So as you said, Korean culture is somehow collectivist, and what do you think how this collectivist culture affect the employees' motivation?
I think it's good because I think, in my opinion, highly individualistic is more fitable to welfare countries. But I think to improve countries or company, I think collectivist is more, I think, give more many motivations to employees. So yes.
I have different opinion.
Okay.
I think Korea is more like individualistic and productivity oriented culture, because companies used to, I don't know I get this right, but Korean companies tend to make employees work employees productivity at the first place. I mean, it's most important thing for Korean companies. I mean, the productivity is the most important thing for Korean companies and employees maybe. So to motivate Korean employees, paying more for them will motivate them work hard.
Paying them will, okay. Can I can I be a bad student and just give you something to think of again? What about yes, so I'm making notes for who's talking, that's great, but this is what I want you to think of. Hofstede, again, is making the same mistake, saying everybody in a country is the same. And based on that, we are saying, everybody in Korea, do we have the same motivations? So if I'm asking you, do you have the same motivation as your father or your grandfather or your grandmother? Probably not. This video that we discussed before, this video by Simon Sinek, he says your age generation, the millennial generation, has a very different motivation, very different culture. Doesn't matter what old people think or do. So go ahead, try to expand upon this. You guys, I've talked about this in class, right? Hey, Solhan, you've seen this video before? Yes, no?
I think I don't have been seen this video.
Ah, okay. Have any of you seen this video before?
Actually, our teams saw this video when we have consultation, but I think rest of classmates don't see this video yet.
Can you summarize what this is saying to the class?
So unlike to the elder people, the millennials prefer to go companies with ensuring work and life balance. So the millennials prefer the work and life balance than pay more and pay working more. Yeah.
So millennials like to do more things that make an impact than pay. You're not only looking for pay, you're looking for something else. Maybe you can volunteer on something, maybe you can help on a special project that you really care about. That's what you want more than just high pay. The old generation, old people, they would do any work just to get paid. Now that you have a lot of money or your family's wealthy, you're more interested in doing something to make the world better. So he says something like that. And he also says that you're living online, you're living in social media, you're living on the internet, you're living in Tinder or on Facebook. So everything is instant for you. It's instant dating. You can do Twitter, or sorry, not Twitter. What's it called? Tinder, and swipe right, swipe left to find somebody to date immediately. You can find somebody to talk to that's interested immediately by joining a chat room. In the old days, it was not easy. So the old generation, what they knew and how they worked is very different than today. Why am I talking about that? Because in your presentation, Icharin, you can show your PPT again. In your PPT, you were saying that Hofstede talks about people in a different country all have different cultural influence, but it's not just a country. It's not just United States and Finland and Norway. It's older generation versus younger generation. Millennial generation culture wants to work on projects they love, not just shitty, boring office jobs. Older people would work on any office job just to get paid. So companies need to change that. Can you guys think of an example of how a company could change that? Maybe I should stop talking and let Icharin and Xianha finish your conversation, and then I'll talk at the end of the class. Anyway, think about those details. You guys, Xianha and Icharin, go ahead, continue your teaching, and at the end of the class, we'll come back to what I'm talking about if people don't understand yet.
Okay, so next we'll continue on with a discussion question. So this is our question. Among four figures, Maslow, McClelland, Herzberg, and Hofstede, whose argument do you think best explains employees' motivation in reality? And how do you think it is applied? Please give examples. So as we have talked about, we know that all four of these people's theories have limitations in some way. However, still, which theory or which person do you think still best explains employees' motivation in reality today?
Awesome question. I'd love to give marks. Who's the first person that wants to get marks from us?
I would like to make a presentation. So I believe
Okay. I think I heard you said you kind of like power too. Is that right? The last time we were talking, you said you like the result, achievement.
Yes.
How about focus on helping your classmates talk more? Since you are achieving pretty high level now, the next level of achievement for you is to help other people. So can you help get classmates to give comments? And after you get 2 classmates to give comments, Miss Lee, then you can go ahead.
Okay. So should I pick a student? Okay.
Anybody but me.
Okay. Maybe Yu Jong Na. Can you please tell your opinion?
Oh, maybe she's not here.
Okay. Maybe another Suhyun, not me, but another Suhyun in Korean letter.
We'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, for the other Isa Suhyun to comment. She's not in class. Next student. 2 out of 3.
Eugene Chung.
Yes.
Can you tell your opinion, please?
In my thinking, can you see about the Herzberg opinions about that? Could you see that?
Pardon?
Herzberg opinions. I want to see the Herzberg opinions about.
Oh, you
that.
like to see the slide again?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
please. Good. I like this student already. There we go. Yes.
And the next slide. Yes.
This one?
I think this one is I think this one is best of argument of this PPT because they compares the characteristic of all countries and decide what is the cultures and the business of in cultures.
So you think Hofstede still best explains the motivation reality?
Yes, in my thinking.
Actually, this is not Hofstede. This is Herzberg. You have the picture of Hofstede, and he's talking about countries, which is okay. But the argument he's using is Herzberg 2-factor motivation theory. So he says some people are motivated, some people are not motivated, demotivated. That is the idea of Frederick Herzberg. Some people are highly productive focused, and other people are more quality of life focused. Can we see the next slide?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the next slide again. Where's the one with the triangles?
The triangle is
talking about, yeah, this guy, Frederick Herzberg. So okay, anybody else wants to try to answer the question?
Me, Professor.
Please.
Can you move to the question slide? Yes, I think among 4 figures, I believe that the theories of Mrs. Cleveland is the most relative, in my opinion, because it depends on the characteristic of the employees, not only depend on their countries or their cultures background. Yes.
okay. Thank you for your participation. Are there anyone
Yeah.
else who would like to contribute to this discussion question?
Can I share my
I can't hear
opinion?
anybody. Keep going.
Go ahead.
I think is Maslow figure is for me is the best excellent for employee because when the company or employee want to do something is most of people is depend on needs of in each people or the company. That is my opinion.
Okay, thank you for your participation. Anyone else before we move on to the next part?
Oh, me.
Oh, go ahead.
So I think I believe the motivation between the ordinary life and workplace is somehow kind of different. So from workplace, people tends to be satisfied by individual needs, not the basic need. And about the even though Maslow shows the overall hierarchy of the needs, Herzberg is, I think, more appropriate for to adapt in reality. And also Herzberg theory contain all of the three motivations from McClelland. So I think because it is divided into intrinsic and extrinsic and intrinsic factors, it is more easier to clarify and distinguish what could be the true motivation factor. And if I'm a manager, I would like to, because these days, the people are the assets and people are important. It is important to win the war for the talents and brains. So I think this Herzberg motivation theory help managers to clarify what motivation can bring the competitive advantage with the asset called people.
Okay, thank you. If there are anyone else, we'll move on to the next part.
You think you
Yes.
could get away without me? I want to zoom in and again talk too much, so I'm going to take over the screen again a little bit. This is your PPT. Thank you very much for allowing me to show it. You talked about Maslow says people want this triangle. They need the bottom one first, then they focus on the next, safety, then they focus on love, then esteem, then self-actualization. Then you talked about Maslow says the interests are different depending on the country. Then we said McClellan said something different. People need achievement, then they need affiliation, and they need power. Then we talked about Herzberg here. Herzberg said some people like different things. And what you specifically said, which was awesome, is that some people have intrinsic, some people have extrinsic, some people have hygiene factors or safety factors, but people don't know what that means. You actually explain it, and some people care about cash and money, but other people care about love and belonging. And I think that's sweet. I think almost all of the millennial generation, or at least a lot of them, and all of you students, you like that extrinsic love and belonging. So what he specifically said, and you quoted, is that you sometimes want lower pay and to volunteer to make a difference, to belong and to show you love other people, not just money. So I think that is great. Most people don't talk about Herzberg, but it is increasingly becoming valuable. Just like that video we talked about with Simon Sinek, the millennial generation care less only about money, and you want more about doing something that you care about, something that you love, using the words of Herzberg. So when you are writing a term paper, you could be an expert if you teach the company that. Teach companies that if they're hiring young people that are millennial generation, maybe you can lower the base pay and use that extra money to be able to pay that staff, if he's good, to go work on a project that he does care about. He doesn't have to stay in the office for 1 million hours every week. He could get lower pay for less time in the office and use more time, and the company will pay you to go develop something else that you care more about. So that is an example of changing the culture. It's not exactly Hofstede, it's not exactly Maslow, since Maslow's wrong depending on which country you're in. It's more related to the cultural generations. Even though when he said this, millennials didn't exist, but it still applies today. Who is it? Hansel Han? Isn't your job to tell me to shut up? Go ahead. You can take over the class again.
Okay, I'll continue on. So we will now move on to the next theory that has been addressed in the textbook. So this is expectancy theories. This theory claims that people are driven by the expectation that their acts will produce certain results. So in other words, employees expect that their ability to perform a task will lead to a reward for its success. So according to this theory, the likelihood that an action will lead to certain outcomes or goals, which is represented as E, multiplied by the attractiveness of the outcome, which is represented as V, equals motivation. So expectancy theories depend on the extent to which people believe they have control over the outcomes of their efforts, and as well as on managers' abilities to identify desired rewards, both of which vary across cultures. So now let's take a look at some examples of cultural differences in the amount of control over the outcomes and in desired rewards from work. So people in different cultures vary in the amount of control they believe they have over their environment and the outcomes of their own behavior. There are two types of control, which are internal attribution and external attribution. To simply these two types, internal attribution is believing the control of individual, whereas external attribution is believing the control of the external circumstances. So individualistic culture of the United States best represents internal attribution, as most Americans strongly believe that they control the relevant aspects of their environment. So American managers believe that they directly influence the world in which they work, which is often said as where there is a will, there is a way. Also, most American managers believe that effective problem solving and hard work will get the job done. However, on the other hand, many managers in other parts of the world believe that they only partially control their work environment and the outcomes of their own behavior, and consider the causes of the results as uncontrollable. So there are a few examples for this. First, many Muslim managers heavily rely on their religion and believe that things will happen only if God wills them to happen. Second, Latin American managers often emphasize the importance of the background of each individual, including its family and social class. Third, many Hong Kong Chinese executives believe in luck, in which they think is involved in all transactions of the business. So by looking at these examples, we can notice the limitation of expectancy theories as it fails to explain the motivation of people in cultures that emphasize external attribution, which is beyond the control of individual and expectation. The desired rewards from work also vary greatly across cultures. To identify its difference, a classic study investigated the work goals of 19,000 employees in a large multinational electrical equipment manufacturer operating in 46 countries. Overall, in every country, the important goals included achievement, environment, general features of the organization, and the employment conditions. The ranking of those goals were different by cultural groups. So to start with the English-speaking countries, they ranked higher on individual achievement and lower on the desire for security. French-speaking countries gave greater importance to security and less importance to challenging work. North European countries put more emphasis on job accomplishment and expressed less interest in work recognition. Southern European and Latin American countries emphasized fringe benefits and found individual achievements less important. Specifically, for each country, Germany ranked high on security and fringe benefits, and Japan put strong emphasis on good working conditions like friendly working environment, and ranked second highest on challenge. In contrast, Japan gave less importance on advancement and autonomy. So through this study, we can conclude that expectancy theories are universal to the extent that they do not specify the types of rewards that motivate a given group of employees. Managers themselves must determine the level and types of reward most sought after by a particular group. So culture and environment determine how human needs can best be met. However, as we have identified earlier, expectancy theories are not entirely universal cross-culturally because it cannot explain the motivation in cultures that prioritize the external control for a certain outcome. So far, we have learned about 4 different theories of motivation, but these theories eventually fail to be applied in every culture around the world. So new theories are beginning to address the cultural void in motivation theories. One of them is cultural intelligence, which is a person's capability to adapt effectively to new cultural contexts. Cultural intelligence includes 3 different aspects that help to explain motivation and managerial behaviors. So the first one is cognitive aspect. Cognitive aspects of cultural intelligence include thinking, learning, and strategizing. They explain how we learn to think and help us to understand how our perceptions can aid or hinder our cross-cultural understanding when faced with new situations. Second is motivational aspect. It involves effectiveness, confidence, persistence, value congruence, and the level of affinity or attraction toward a new culture. Motivational aspect also explain how strongly we hold our particular cultural values and norms towards a new culture when encountering it for the first time. Last but not least is behavioral aspect. It includes a person's range of possible actions and responses that can be used in intercultural encounters, as well as the ability to acquire new behaviors when needed. Developing the cognitive, motivational, and behavioral aspects of cultural intelligence can powerfully increase international managers' efficacy when interacting across cultures. So in conclusion, it is important for companies to apply the theory of cultural intelligence in reality to successfully raise the cross-cultural awareness. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your participation and thank you for listening. And these are the references that have been used for our presentation. And thank you so much. So the class time is over and I apologize for going over time. But we have the quiz that we would like to distribute it to you. So on the chat box, I will send the link right now. And I hope you guys finish these quiz until the next class on Wednesday, which is November 18th. So now I will share the link. Have you gotten the link?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? This link, I believe, is also in the Excel file. Maybe we can have it in the Facebook file. Great. I want to just point out that here. you guys stopped sharing your file, is that right? Yes. So if we are looking at the class file, I've got notes about what you guys are doing, but and you should comment about how you are adding to the class and record your marks. For example, I have recorded 9 out of 10 points. I could probably even go higher if you negotiate more. And I provided, there's the link to the folder of the students presenting today. That's great. But over here in the week 11, this is the week 11. This is a file. If you open that link, this shows a lot of details. Oh, why is it not showing? Yeah, here it is. So this is showing more ways to motivate people around the world. So these are some ways. This is one more time. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's Herzberg theories here. There's McClellan's theory here. There's Hawthorne. There's many theories that they were talking about. They are explained here in case anybody wants to know. But we also go on, we explain more about McGregor's theory, theory Y. We talk about additional theories. This is the summary of the theories. And there's more details. For example, this article from Hofstede says people in USA are motivated by growth of business, personal wealth, this year's profits and power, which is the opposite of people in China. So the motivations change depending on where you are, and also change by the generations like millennials. So please go through this. There's lots of information you can maybe find interesting. I find this information, simply talking about how you study in class, really changes how people work. For example, people in China and Korea, you study so much that some people prefer not to go on vacation because they worry they're missing too much class. Anyway, you can see this again. That is linked in this file. There's a few other files sharing this, and the overall PPT is here, and the file of many details are here. Make sure everybody, don't just sign up. So Eugene Jung, Sukrita, add your link here. Next one, people managing cross-cultural transitions. Put your link to your folders here so we can give you more points. Is that clear for everybody?
Yes.
And don't forget to put your comments here. Don't leave things quiet. If you talk in class or share in class or have anything, even in Facebook, you can put information here and get points. This file should be made by you. I've been helping, but it's your file, so you add your own points to it. Thanks, guys. See you next class. If anybody has questions for me, I will stick around, but you guys are welcome to leave.
So, Professor Watts?
Yes.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
So we.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Shim.
So according to the CCC contribution file, we saw that we get 9 out of 10.
Yes.
So.
And we would like to know why.
Yeah.
Just because I'm an old guy. How about try changing your negotiation and tell me why you think you deserve more marks? If you show me you deserve more marks for any reason, I will agree with you.
I'm not sure if we can.
Excuse me?
Pardon?
Just refresh my memory. Show me what you did. Show me your leadership ability. Demonstrate you deserve those marks. Let me help you. Remember, you have this, right? You can still see you have this link. You have another link. You've shared over here this. You talked to me about these things. Here's a link, here's a link, here's a link. And you presented stuff back in earlier times. So if you talk about that, do you want to mention how many articles you talked about today?
So today,
So we
go ahead.
Yeah, today we mainly focus on the textbook, but we also use the Scopus article, 3 articles, and we also use the YouTube links for helping better understanding. And also, I think we gave several discussion questions to students. So we think we